sharing your afternoon with us here on Kababayan LA. We are talking to some parents and a licensed marriage and family therapist with us today on the show, talking about raising kids here in America. Kanina po nakilala natin si Gail, our licensed therapist today on the show, and some parents, Rocio, our wonderful parents, Rocio and Gus, attorney Gus Mora. We're talking to them about how they raise very successful kids. And earlier, what you pointed out, Rocio, was as long as it's considered successful, so you were a successful parent if you're able to raise your kids with good moral values. But when we talk about values, alam naman natin iba ang values ng Filipino immigrant compared to Filipino Americans here, or even America in general. Gail, how do you reconcile that? How do you reconcile na iba yung values sa bahay, iba yung values sa environment, sa school, for example?
Right. I think one of the things, the first things that we need to be aware of, which I don't think when we all migrated here, we didn't think about it, that we would be raising kids from a different culture. I think that that's a reality that we first have to accept and be aware of. And then from that point on, you have to kind of come up with a compromise. You know, and maybe what we say, get the good values from each culture and have a compromise. Because I think we have to accept that our kids are coming up with their own values because of the environmental influence.
And it's not always in agreement with each other. Say, for example, Attorney Mora, you have only one daughter, and when she was growing up here, I'm sure, diba, sa Philippines, no, you're not allowed to date till you finish college or whatever, very strict. Pero dito, they start dating, 14, 13, meron ng mga boyfriend, meron ng mga puppy love. How did you deal with that, with your daughter?
Well, it really depended on when she started dating, because sometimes my wife or my other son had to go with her as a chaperone. Okay. But when she reached the age of 18, I mean, she could go on her own, but we are always there to advise her on what to do and what not to do and what to avoid.
What do you say to parents, Rocio, na, you know, sometimes they're so overprotective? Were you like that also with your daughters, or did you allow them to date at such a young age? It's such a dilemma, no? Even the boys, do you allow them to date girls at such an early age?
Well, like Gail was saying, it's a different generation now. I was raised differently during my generation, but, you know, realizing that they're in a different environment. The challenges are more, how shall I say it, constricting, I guess, you know. So parents will have to learn how to adapt to the newer generation. It's, like you said, a compromise. You know, with my daughter, for instance, when she first started broaching the topic of wanting to go out on dates, I reminded her that she has older brothers that she can relate to, and that, you know, I guess establishing the house rules early on.
What are some of the house rules?
Curfew.
You gave them curfew.
Curfew, yes. And opening up your home to their friends is one of them. You know, knowing their friends, getting to know them, letting them know that it's okay to bring them home, so that and they can hang out in the house, as they would say. Can we hang out with our friends? I would much rather have my children, you know, hang out, and I prepare food for them, and they're free to do whatever it is that they want to do at my home, as opposed to wondering where they are. You know, so that it gave them a little bit more of reassurance that my mom is hip.
Right,
you know,
and you
can
cared
understand.
about them. Right,
she can understand.
Right.
And also, too, I think early on, establishing good, happy environment at home, and making your rules clear, and talking about what those rules are.
Okay, what about the instances of them breaking the rules? How do you discipline the kids here in America? May palo pa ba? Palo sa puwet?
Well, no, you cannot do that right here, because
How
you
did
know
you
the
discipline
legal
your
consequences.
kids?
Well, you just have to sit down with them and talk to them, and find out where they're coming from and why they did it, and then explain to them why it was wrong, and then admonish them not to repeat the same mistakes.
Ginagawa ba yung grounded? No TV, no ganito, no ganyan, no cell phone?
Well, it depended on sa age nila. When they were still in grade school, maybe that would work.
Right.
That would
but
work.
when they're already in their high school and college, that's different. It's different.
Let's ask the expert, Gail. When do you stop disciplining them, or ano yung mga age-appropriate disciplines?
Janelle, I can really see, if you could come up with the ingredients of a successful parenting, I can see both parents have it. They are involved. They don't really say hindi pwede, but rather they will go with them. Like Attorney Mora said, we'll go with you. You said come over to our house. Those are the successful, characteristics of parenting. And also telling them that it's different parenting techniques for each age group.
Oh, okay.
So hindi pwede parenting sa teenager the same as a kid.
Okay, so nag-iiba-iba.
Yes.
But going with them or welcoming them to the house, how do you do that? Yun na nga, age-old question among Filipinos here. How do you do that when you barely have time for yourself? We're going to be talking about that when we return on the show. Please stay with us.
Tired of missing calls because of that disorganized person?